Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Honorable Lecturer, Mr. Hendry Saputra, MPD, and all of my beloved friends. First, let me introduce our group. Members of the seventh group is Annisa, Puji, Lestari, me, Fitrianti Putri, and Putri Milani. And the presentations today is about teaching the poetry. Well, let's open our meeting presentations by saying Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, thank you. For the next agenda is presentation sessions. For the first turn will be read by me. What is poetry? Poetry is a form of literary work that has art of language, which contain aesthetic meaning. It commonly written, read and listen, kind language in poetry more intensely than ordinary language. In poetry, the sound and meaning of words are combined to express feelings, thoughts, and ideas. Poetry is a type of literature that conveys a thought, describes a scene, or tells a story in a concentrated, lyrical arrangement of words. Poems can be structured with rhyming lines and meter, the rhythm and emphasis of a line based on syllabic beat. Poems can also be free-form, which follows no formal structure. Okay, the next is kinds of poetry. The first kind of poetry is free-verse poetry. Free-verse poetry is poetry that lacks a consistent rhyme scheme, metrical pattern, or musical form. While free-verse poems are not devoid of structure, they allow enormous leeway for poets, particularly when compared to more metrically strict form like blank verse. Why do students have to study the free-verse poetry? Free-verse poetry may be the best and try into these explorations of the types of poetry because it is less structured, light, and likely more easy for students to write themselves. And the next kinds of poetry is haiku. A haiku is a three-line poetic form originating in Japan. The first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7 syllables, and the third line again has 5 syllables. Why students have to study these kinds of poetry is because students learning to write haiku, if it is both a singular and plural noun, will learn how to consolidate their writing successfully while expanding their vocabulary into more descriptive and concise words. You can see the example of haiku poetry on the screen. Okay, the next slide will be presentation by Annisa Puji Lestari. For Annisa, time is yours.
Okay, next slide is kinds of poetry is limerick. Limerick is a true memorial device. Limerick can be used to have memories, facts related to all other subject area, from anatomy to engineering, because they are fun and contain short rhymes and become to recall information can be a motivational, highly beneficial tool for studying learning. Limerick is humorous poems that have more distinct rhythm. Their subject matter can be designed to our laws. Is law. Okay, the next slide is sonnet. Sonnet is a 14-line poem. Sonnet can be categories obeying dramatic poems full of real struggle, while adventure and creative imagination. The sonnet may be the most theatrical poem when kids assume that poems are just about love and are for grown up. Okay, the next is elements of poetry. First is image. Image is the mental pictures the poets create through language. Image or imagery is the concentrated representation of a sense, impression, feeling, or idea that triggers or our imaginative sensory experience. Second is diction. Diction is the selection of specific words. And the third form. Form is the arrangement, words, line, verses, and other features. And cadence. Cadence is a rhythmic change in the inflection of sounds from words being spoken. And couplet. Couplet is two lines of verse that rhyme at the end and are shown as one unit. Meter. Meter is the rhythm or beat assemblage of form. Meter is stress and stress. Okay, the next slide will be explained by Putri Milani.
Okay, I will continue the material from Annisa Lestari. It's about elements of poetry. The first is rhyme. Rhyme is words that end with similar sounds, usually at the end of a line of the poem. Rhyme arranging a sentence so that one word rhymes with another can help organize a poem, but it can also emphasize or contrast actions or emotions. The second is rhyming. Rhyming is two lines of a poem together with the same rhythm. And the third is rhythm. Rhythm is a pattern created with a sounds hard, soft, long, short, bouncy, quiet, loud, weak, and strong. And the next is stanza. Stanza is a part of a poem with similar rhythm and rhyme that will usually repeat later in the poem. And the last one is verse. Verse is a line of poem or a group of lines within a long poem. Next slide, please. The next slide is using the perspectives. The first is the textual perspective. In applying the textual, the pores of frame, students could list on one side of the page the speakers and the cop's actions. Then on the right side, they could list their implied attributes, beliefs, and goals. For example, a student may describe the speaker's language as simple and direct, implying a need to share his experience with speakers. Description that imply his speech. The second is a social perspective. Social perspective is one that observes society through a lens without personal opinions. For example, here students could discuss their own social responses. The speaker and the cop. Student could recall any related experience in which they were comforted by a peer, parent, teacher, or another adult. Next slide is a cultural perspective. Cultural perspective refers to the way that individuals are shaped by their environments as well as social and cultural factors. Such factors include a personality, race, and gender. The next is a topical perspective. Topical perspective focus on a special kind of situation practical reason as an alternative to conventional approaches to argumentation. For example, students could draw upon a number of related topics in approaching the poem. From a historical perspective, they could read about various incidents of confrontation between police or army, and by 10 years the police nods to the 1968 Democratic National Convention or civil rights demonstration in Mississippi and Alabama, or the shooting of students at Kent State University who were protesting the Vietnam War. Okay, maybe that's all I can explain.
Okay, thank you, Putri, for the delivered. Okay, thank you. I think that's all from our group. First, we would like to say thanks again for the presenters and all of the audience in this meeting. You can ask us if there's something that you want to know more. Hopefully that presentations will give benefits for us. Thank you for your attention and see you later.